YouTube, what is going on? It is Gino Bonino here, guys. It has been a long time since I've put out a video. I apologize for that. It's been a long summer. Been busy. But I do intend on getting some more videos out. In fact, I'm going to start a new series I wanted to make you guys aware of. I want to start what I'm going to call Key of the Week. I'm going to take a key book. It can be something major. It can be something that is a little bit more obscure and independent. And I'm going to try to do a deep dive on it, tell about print runs, talk about what happens in the book, actually show what happens in the book, go into common errors, common misprint errors, I should say, things of that nature, basically what makes it a key, and if it's something that you should pick up. I know a lot of times in this day and age, there's a ton of key issues, and I think in essence, you have to kind of decide what you want to collect and why you want to collect it in order to make your money last. I think if everybody kind of goes the shotgun method, it's a good way to go broke quick. And there's some books people simply pick up because somebody said they should. They don't really give it a lot of thought. It kind of becomes the flavor of the week, book of the week, and what happens is you'll buy it and spend a bunch of money, and then you'll look back 6 or 8 months later and say, what in the hell was I thinking? Same sort of thing that I'm trying to kind of help you avoid. So again, I feel that information is key. The more information you have, I'm certainly not going to tell you whether you should or shouldn't buy it, but I will give you some insight as to my thoughts of the book and what if it's something that has legs or can die on the vine. And again, it seems like a lot of books die on the vine, so we'll see where it goes. Been waiting to kind of get a little bit of time to do it because I do want to give as much information as I possibly can. So we'll go from there. As far as today's video, I haven't done a haul video in forever. And I got a lot of stuff that I actually could show, a lot of box openings and whatnot, but this is something a little bit special. I've never been to Half Price Books, although I have read a lot about it. I went out of state, and the state I was going to happened to have one, so I decided to visit it. My takeaway from the whole experience, number one, is it's a great place to get stuff. They sell everything from video games to obviously comic books and records and albums and vinyl and CDs and cassette tapes and headphones. I mean, you name it. If it has to do with the nerd culture, they have it, and even beyond that. Anyway, my takeaway is it's a great place to buy. I don't know if it's a great place to unload your books because they don't pay very much, probably close to 5 or 10 cents a book. Again, I was kind of watching. I didn't bring my stuff in, but I was watching as people did. And in essence, what you do is you come in with a box of stuff. They go through it and do kind of a quick assessment, and then they will call you over the intercom and tell you to come by and give you a price. And you can take it or leave it kind of thing. You're under no obligation. But I saw a lot of people kind of get a little frown on their face when they were quoted the price. Again, and nothing against Half Price Books. I mean, they deserve to make a profit. I'm not saying it's not a good thing. I mean, it's a lot easier, obviously, bringing your stuff in there and dropping it off in the box than it is to either do a garage sale, which is a whole day's work, or to put it up on eBay and do individual listings and deal with all the fees and nonsense that you sometimes have to deal with. So I'm not saying it doesn't have its place. I'm just saying it does have its pros and cons. And definitely one of the cons is the fact that they don't pay a ton of money for the stuff. But they do pass it on to the consumer, and that's us. And again, if you know what you're looking for, you can do very well there. One thing that I did notice is they will take a run of books. For example, I found a run of spawns, and they will pull the keys. So don't expect to find any major modern stuff. Nowadays, they probably run off the key collector app, just like many of us do when we go into a large collection or a large store. And it seems like you'll find a a bunch of books, and then lo and behold, the first appearances and all that are missing. And it could be because they've been picked through, but my guess more likely is they take them and put them in. They do have kind of a gradated tier system where they have, obviously, most of their books are in the $1, $2 range. But then there is a kind of a lockbox, or what you would call in a comic book store, a wall books. And they do have a lot of the good stuff separated and priced accordingly in there. So again, it's still fine, and their prices are definitely lower than comic shops and conventions. But also, you do have to be conscious of condition because they don't take that into effect. They just kind of grade stuff based on what probably what Key Collector helps them do. The first thing that I got that was kind of cool was Funko Pop Archangel. Or I really liked the character. I thought the colors were cool, so I picked him up. These are $3, which is a great price for these. So I got that. And most of these books will be from, in fact, I think all of them are from Half Price Books. I just got back. And before I processed them and took them out of and put them in, some of them in Mylar, I wanted to go ahead and show you guys. So it'll have the price stickers on. I apologize, but I just wanted to share what I found. First thing I'm going to show you is Aquaman #1. Again, not a major book by any means, but still a cool book to have. I think I have a couple of these. Also, I've got Amazing Spider-Man 293. This is the second book in the Kraven's Last Hunt story. And whenever I see these, I do pick them up. I simply think that eventually this storyline is going to be coming down the pike. And having these books, I think, is a good thing to have. And plus, it's a great read. I mean, it's a really good story. If you haven't read it, you should. Batman 450. This is I don't collect a lot of DC, but Joker covers is one thing that I do collect. And this is just a very cool Joker cover. 463, same kind of thing. It's from a really cool run, which has a lot of keys in it, but again, with Joker cover. Batman Incorporated, nothing major happens in this one, but Batman Incorporated is one of those that you can collect the entire mini-series, not because it's a small series. And there's a few books here and there that are noteworthy and good to have. Before they were Watchmen, or before Watchmen, I should see Rorschach. Rorschach tends to be probably the most famous and kind of have the biggest fan base of any of the Watchmen. What's cool about this cover, and I just noticed this actually, it's him as outlined in a mask. And his influence is actually heavily felt in the new series on HBO. If you notice, there's the 7th Cavalry running around. They're kind of are taking his words and going kind of a different direction with it. But again, it just shows how that can happen. I don't think Rorschach any means kind of stood for the same as the 7th Cavalry stands for, but he was just kind of a no-nonsense kind of person, and they're taking that and going a different direction with it. But cool. Once again, cool book. Glad I found it. Captain America #8. This is a first appearance of Bronchar. This was kind of a hot book a while back, just before the Captain Marvel movie. But it's cooled off a little bit, but still a good one to have. Who knows what'll happen with it? So we'll wait and see. Carnage #8, excuse me. Just cool cover. Definitely a cover buy, and also anything Carnage right now, if you can find it for $1 or $2, is definitely worth the pickup. This was a definite cover buy. This is Catwoman 66 and the cool Mona Lisa Catwoman crossover cover. Just love this, like the whip around her neck and just little odds and ends. Again, very cool cover, and when I saw it, I instantly knew that I wanted to put it in my PC. Civil War 2, #3. Of course, this being a famous book because it's the book where Hawkeye shoots Hulk in the head, killing him, and basically starts the domino effect of what now is the Immortal Hulk. Anyway, the start happened in this one. So this is a good book to have, especially if you're an Immortal Hulk fan. Daredevil #193. Nothing major here. This is just one of the Frank Miller books, and that's one thing that I do collect. I like the Frank Miller run of Daredevil, and could be hot. Daredevil, again, is one of those characters that it looks like is going to be kind of shuffled back into the MCU. I don't know if he's going to be coming back. I assume he'll be coming back in the movies, but he might be on their streaming service. But anyway, just a character, again, that you just never know with. They could pick up on the storyline, so it's good to have this book, and it's very well written. 250, this is First Bullet. Again, a kind of a major, kind of a minor key. Um, but again, that's him on the cover. It showed just he's a speedster, and again, and strength sort of reminds me a little bit of the Juggernaut or Rhino or whatever. Venom Island, Darkhawk number 14. 13 and 14. If you see these books cheap, my recommendation would be to pick them up for your PC. With the Venom Island story coming out just down the road a little bit, there's been some chatter that there might be some tie-in with these two books, and again, it's not a bad idea to get them. Also, again, Darkhawk is one of those characters similar to Moon Knight, to where you just don't know that he has this kind of cult following. Even though people have tried kind of to ignore him, he's not going away. So if you get a chance to get Darkhawk, there's certain issues. The first 51 and 13 and 14, I would say, are good issues to get. And if you find them for a good price, definitely worth the pickup. Factor X, number 1. This is the first appearance of Bedlam, and also First Christopher. This book was real hot during the Deadpool movie, the second one, because we thought that there was going to be more of a presence of the X characters in there. However, it turned out that it was just kind of they were in there for maybe 5 minutes or so. Of course, I might as well spoil it. They die. But anyway, so this book had a little bit of heat and then kind of cooled off, but then picked back up again with the new Hickman X books coming out. So again, probably not a bad book. You'll find this often for $1. Falcon from the miniseries. Again, a cool book to have. Anytime I can get books that are in like the 4-part miniseries, they're probably good to get. They've got Iceman, which we'll talk about a little later, Falcon, etc. It's good books to get the mini, just because a lot of times major things happen there. Don't ask about this one. It just sort of thought to myself, well, maybe it'll have its following or whatever. Plus, God only knows what'll happen to Justin Bieber down the road. Anyway, this is Fame, which was kind of its own little line of comic books, and they picked different people. They did Beyonce and other people. Anyway, this was just Justin Bieber. Couple bucks, so again, couldn't go wrong. Figured to pick it up. What the hell? Not a fan, but I mean, some of his music's okay, but you know, again, generally speaking, not a big fan. Picked this up simply because it's Back in Black story. A lot of the Back in Black books were, you know, are well collected. This is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, issue number 22. Nothing really major happens. This is a pretty cool book. This is Batman Gotham by Gaslight. This is a one-shot book. It's kind of it's a trade paperback in essence, I guess, along that line. It's got the square back. And this is a cool book because it's kind of a fantasy like Batman back in the day. And he goes against the Jack the Ripper. So he's kind of doing his detective work and stuff. If you like Batman as a detective, this is a good book to have. Green Lantern number 1 from the New 52. This, of course, is the non-recalled No Teardrop. I'm sure most of you are aware, but there was a recall because there was a little misprint right here. Probably a hair or something got in the ink or in the press, and anyway, it caused him to have a teardrop shaped divot right in his hair above his ear, and it was recalled, and this is the new, probably the new one after that. A little bit bigger issue. This is Green Lantern 50, the glow-in-the-dark cover. This is the first Kyle Rayner as the Green Lantern, and also Hal Jordan becomes Parallax, or is as Parallax. I have a couple of these, but again, if I find them for $1 or $2, I always pick them up. Harbinger number 3. My feelings with Harbinger is, if Bloodshot is a success, Harbinger probably has the green light to be the second movie. Now, I know there has been some discussion about, I think Paramount bought out the rights to Harbinger, but they probably bought the rights for the ability to be able to make a movie or the partnership with Sony. So this is a good book just because it is the first appearance of Livewire, who's a potential villain in the Harbinger movie. You never know. I mean, again, for the price, you can't go wrong. There's not a whole bunch of Harbingers books that are key issues from the second series, but this is one of them. So again, it's a dollar book for sure, but it's one that does have some potential. So it's good to have and put away and wait and see what happens. Hex Wives. The only reason I bought this book, this is number 6, is because my shop didn't get very many in, and I always been kind of a fan of old TV when I was a kid, and I always liked Bewitched, and this is kind of the Bewitched influence cover. And again, I couldn't get my hands on one. What happened is it was a sought-after cover, and it sold out immediately, and then went up kind of crazy in price, $10-$20. I wasn't going to pay it for that. I wasn't that big of a fan, but then it came back. Now it came back down to earth, and when I found it, I knew that I might as well get it for my PC, even though the heat is over. It's still one of my favorite. Still a cool cover, so couldn't go wrong. Howard the Duck 13, first Dr. Bong, which is the fellow right there with the Iron Man hat on. I've got, anyway, this is 15. For people that are big Howard the Duck fans, this is one of the more key issues. There's also, of course, 13, which is Kiss. And again, Howard the Duck has his own little cult following, so cool book to have. Nothing major in this book, just 241, just kind of cool because it's the wraparound cover with the face transferring from Banner to Hulk, so I kind of like the fact that this one did that too, so I picked it up for that reason. 347, this is first Joe Fixit persona. Hulk is Joe Fixit. Kind of a gangster, playboy, I guess you could say, Vegas dude. And again, one of the personas that have come out in the Immortal Hulk. Just a cool book to have, one of the key issues of the Hulk. Issue 7 of the Hulk, Red Hulk series. Not much happens in this, but whenever I find these books cheap, I pick them up just because you don't know where they're going with that in the MCU, and sometimes these books will have a thing or a character or something in them that makes them collectible. Iceman 2, the reason I got this is because the miniseries 1 through 4 deals with the first appearance of Oblivion, which is a good character to kind of keep your eye on. He's not featured in 2 or 4, but the cool thing about this is, hang on one second, guys. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it didn't get funky. Anyway, a lot of times when you sell these, you want to do it as a set. And if you have 1 through 4, it's easier to kind of sell them that way because people kind of want to get the whole set. So if I ever see 2s and 4s, even though there's not a lot happens in them, I still pick them up. I actually got 2 number 2s and 2 number 4s. Iron Man, Invincible Iron Man number 11. Good book because it's the first rescue armor. First appearance of the rescue armor, which we saw in the Avengers movie, and then issue 12, which is the second appearance of the same thing. New Avenger, Jack of Hearts. Number 1, kind of just a weird, obscure 90s character that Marvel came out with once again. It's a 4-part mini. Decided especially because it's the first book, I was going to get it. But if I see any of the miniseries, I pick this one up. It has his own little cult following, and who knows? I mean, sometimes these weird, strange little characters, somebody will pick them. They were something somebody remembered as a kid, and when they get to be, they'll put them in their movie as a Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that, and it explodes. So these are, for the price, they're good books just to let sleep in your box and wait and see what happens. This was just a personal buy, Johnny Quest. I was a big fan of the cartoons when I was a kid, and when I see these kind of books from my childhood, Banana Splits, Johnny Quest, etc., I pick them up. Marvel Knights, first appearance of the Marvel Knights as a team, and again, first issue, decided to get it. Marvel 2-in-1, 46. This is a classic Hulk and Thing. Again, when I see them on the cover battling, that's another thing, that kind of little subgenre of comic books that I like to collect. New Mutants number 6. Nothing real major happens here other than it's an early New Mutants, so I decided to get it. New Avengers number 7. This is notable because T'Challa and Atlantis go to war with one another, and that's something that's been rumored as a possibility for the next Black Panther movie. You know they're going to do something with Namor. My guess is that, I'm guessing that these two kind of in the comics have been sort of nemesis and foes and whatnot. It would make sense for them to show him in this, in the Black Panther movie. So I got it for that spec. So again, we'll wait and see what happens. But the two factions are at war here, and it's got them, the two personal heroes from each place, from each community battling. We've got Black Panther battling Namor. Saga number 19. This is notable because it's the first appearance of Ginny, Dango, and Yuma, which again, I don't know too hell of a lot about Sega. It came around when I was not collecting. I know it was hotter than can be when I got back into collecting. Number 1 was kind of an it book at the time. It seems like it's since cooled off a bit simply because it's not getting any support. But if it starts getting republished again, I would say watch out. And this is the last issue to date, which is 54 with the red feather. Shy number 7, just a cool cover. Sensational Spider-Man, once again, got it because of the Back in Black storyline, number 35. Sentry number 1 from the new series, got a couple of these already. Now this is what I ran into and I was so happy. This is the Spawn. Again, like everybody else, I did kind of collected for probably the first 3 years of Spawn, so I think I have every issue from 1 to 36. And then I quit. And sadly, the books have sort of become a little bit harder to find just because I think a lot of people are holding on to them. Spawn's one of those things that I want to get the entire run of. So when I find a run of them for a good price, I pick them up, and that's exactly what I found here. Now, I did notice that you'll find there'll be gaps, and the gaps are either where I already have the books or they're super key issues and somebody already picked them out, did a little cherry picking. So I got 47, 52 with has Savage Dragon on the cover. 54, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 62 with Angelina on the cover, 63 newsstand, 65 newsstand, 66, 67, 68, I hope the glare wasn't there bad, 69, I'll make this quick, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76. I'm just showing you guys these so you know what they look like if you find them out in the wild. 78, 79, 80, 82, 85, 86, 87, 90, 91, 92, almost over, 93, 94, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, and that's it. Then, anyway, I was so happy to find these. I knew I had to fill this run, and I was expecting to pay about $5 each for the books. But again, for $1 or $2, you can't go wrong. Spider-Man 2099. What caught me on this one, nothing really major happens, but 2099 was teased to be a pretty big player in the next Spider-Verse movie that just dropped the teaser for that. Um, this is number 8 and has the very awesome Matina art. You can tell Matina's art kind of looks a little bit like Alex Ross with the light and stuff. Just beautiful. Submariner number 32. First Lyra, which is the this young lady there. This is half sister to Namor, and my understanding is she is half mutant, so I could see her being used as a tie-in between the X-Men and the MCU, so probably a good book to pick up if you see this one in the wild. Team America, just a number 1 Marvel, decided to pick it up. God of Thunder, Thor God of Thunder book, number 23. Nothing major happens, but again, I think all the God of Thunder books have kind of become somewhat possibility of being important. Thor number 126, important book because this is the first Thor standalone series. Up to this point, it was Journey into Mystery, I believe. And it's got the cool Kirby art on front with him first fight with Hercules, I believe. And again, whenever you have the Kirby covers that have the two fighting heroes in the foreground, those are heavily collected. Just love those covers. So again, good book to get. Thunderbolts 19, first Charcoal, which was a fan-based villain. Don't know too much about it. I don't know who the fan was. I don't know if it's somebody that went on to be a creator or not. But anyway, what happened was Wizard put out a contest, and this was the winning submission. Charcoal, who's basically like a burning person who can stand heat and stuff like that, from issue 19. Marvel Ultimate Team Up number 2, which was had the cool Hulk cover, and then 15, which was the first appearance of Shang-Chi and Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe. Picked it up kind of because I like the Ultimates universe, and also you don't know if they may take bits and pieces from this to introduce Spider-Man, Shang-Chi in the Spider-Man universe. So there could potentially, there's been some talk of there being some crossover in the movies for that. So again, good book to pick up. Vision number 12, just a cool series, and again, just love the cover. Watchmen, it's been very good, well received HBO series, and these are all selling. This is number 2 and number 3 and number 7. Web of Spider-Man number 48, I think first full Demogoblin, who we've seen come back out of the shadows a little bit, and this is first full appearance. What If number 1, which is a cross up between Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. Again, a good book to get, simply because What If is coming down the pike, and you never know if they will do something along this line. So again, right now it's kind of quietish, but you watch and see. And this is a parody of the Watchmen called What Men. I haven't read it yet, but again, it's kind of the parody. It reminds me of the parody that they put out from Spawn and all that. So I'm going to take a look. X-Men number 249. This is first Wipeout. And 250. This is, what is this? First Worm. And then 267, which is the second appearance of Gambit. And then the big book that I found. You can probably see what it is. Check it out. Newsstand copy of ASM 300, First Venom. Pretty decent copy. It's not near mint by any means. I do have to do some work on it. I'm going to definitely going to give it a clean and give it a press. I'll give it the full version of a press, which means I'm going to soak it in the humidity chamber. And then give it a good press. But it presents very well. It's got no major issues. It's got a couple little color breaking spine ticks. It does have a little crease up here that breaks color right up there. But other than that, it's in really good shape. And I think a lot of the other stuff I can I can definitely correct. So it'll be interesting to see. I obviously didn't pay $1 for this. I paid a pretty good premium for it, but I think again, I think as an investment, it's right now what's happening is you'll find the Venom stuff will start heating up again, especially since the announcement that there will be some crossover between the MCU Spidey and the Sony Venomverse. So this may be a good book to start kind of looking at if you can get it for a fairly decent price. Let's just say I paid less than $200 for this, but more than $150. So that'll give you kind of idea of what I got it for. But once again, I don't ever see this book taking a dive, especially if it's in pretty decent shape. All the staples are tight. Obviously, I mean, it should be. It's a book from the 90s, so it shouldn't be too terribly beat up. But as a book, it's solid. And again, after I press it, I think I can maybe get a grade or two bump on it. So that's kind of the game plan. And that is it, guys. So thanks for sticking with. I know this was a long video. I do apologize. Again, it's Gino Benino. I am out, and I will talk to you later. And happy hunting. Bye for now.